On April 6, 2026, 4 human beings entered a zone of silence that no living soul had touched since 1972. As the Orion spacecraft, named Integrity, crossed the lunar limb, something profound happened. The Earth, that bright, blue, noisy marble, simply vanished. For Reid Wiseman, Victor Glover, Christina Koch, and Jeremy Hansen, the transition wasn't just physical, it was psychological. In that moment, they became the most isolated humans in the history of the species. Behind them lay everything they had ever known. Every ocean, every city, every person. In front of them, 3.5 billion years of untouched, prehistoric starlight, and a sight of the moon that remains one of the greatest mysteries in our solar system. We often call it the dark side, a term made famous by Pink Floyd and decades of science fiction. But as the Artemis II crew would soon witness, the reality is far more complex. Scientifically, it is the far side. And while it isn't always dark, it receives just as much sunlight as the side we see, it is undeniably alien. It is a rugged, battered landscape that looks more like a war zone than the smooth man in the moon we see from Earth. To understand what the crew saw, we first have to understand why we never see it. The moon is tidally locked. Millions of years of Earth's gravitational tug-of-war have synchronized the moon's rotation. It turns once for every trip it makes around our planet. Because of this, the far side remained a total mystery until the Soviet Luna 3 probe snapped a few grainy, black and white photos in 1959. But photos don't do it justice. The Artemis II crew was tasked with human observation, using the unique processing power of the human eye to see details that sensors often miss. They weren't just looking for craters, they were looking for the geologic history of the inner solar system. Because the far side is shielded from Earth's radio interference and partially shielded from the solar wind, it is a pristine record of the early universe. At 10:42 p.m., Houston Mission Control issued the final go before the spacecraft moved behind the moon. The final words from Earth were, "Orion, you are go for LOS. See you on the other side." For the next 34 minutes, the crew was truly alone. No NASA, no emergency instructions. If an engine had misfired or a seal had leaked in that half-hour window, no one on Earth would have known until it was too late. Commander Reid Wiseman described the sensation as the heaviest silence you can imagine. Without the blue glow of Earth reflecting in the windows, the cabin became dark. The stars, free from the glare of our atmosphere, didn't just twinkle. They were piercing, multicolored jewels set against a velvet void. As they emerged into the sunlight on the far side, the first major feature to greet them was the Mare Orientale. From Earth, we only see the very edge of this feature during specific lunar wobbles, or librations. But from Orion, it was a staggering bullseye the size of Texas. Orientale is a multi-ring impact basin. Imagine dropping a boulder into a pool of liquid rock. The ripples froze into mountain ranges thousands of feet high. The crew noted the striking lack of Maria, the dark, smooth volcanic plains so common on the side we see. The far side's crust is roughly 20 kilometers thicker than the near sides. When massive asteroids hit the side facing Earth, they cracked the thin crust, allowing dark lava to seep out and create the seas. On the far side, the armor was too thick. The result? A chaotic, mountainous fortress of jagged white highlands. But the true objective for the Artemis II mission was further south, the South Pole-Aitken, SPA, Basin. This is one of the largest, deepest, and oldest known impact craters in the entire solar system. It's 2,500 kilometers wide and 13 kilometers deep. If you dropped Mount Everest into the bottom, it wouldn't even reach the rim. As the crew flew over the SPA, they weren't just seeing gray rock. They were seeing colors. Christina Koch used specialized multispectral cameras to document the iron-rich and thorium-rich signatures of the basin floor. Why does this matter? The SPA basin is so deep It likely punched through the moon's crust and exposed the mantle. The crew was literally looking at the innards of the moon, rocks that haven't seen the light of a star for 4 billion years. Near the lunar South Pole, the sun never rises more than a few degrees above the horizon. This creates permanently shadowed regions, or PSRs. Inside these craters, the temperature drops to minus 400 degrees Fahrenheit. They are the coldest places in the known solar system, colder even than the surface of Pluto. The crew looked down into these abysses of ice using high-sensitivity night vision optics, looking for the faint glint of water ice. This ice isn't just for drinking, it's the gold of the space age. It can be broken down into oxygen for breathing and hydrogen for rocket fuel. Jeremy Hansen remarked that looking into these craters felt like staring into the eyes of history. That ice has likely been there, frozen and silent, since the era when Earth was still a molten ball of magma. Then came the climax of the mission, the AOS, acquisition of signal. As Orion swung around the lunar limb, the Earth didn't just appear, it rose. For the crew, seeing the Earth wasn't just a navigational milestone, it was a homecoming. After the dead, gray, cratered chaos of the far side, the Earth looked impossibly vibrant. Victor Glover's description was perhaps the most poetic. It's so blue. It's so small. You realize that everything you love, every war ever fought, every person who ever lived, is sitting on that tiny, glowing dust mote. This is the overview effect taken to its absolute limit. When the Apollo 8 crew saw this in 1968, it sparked the modern environmental movement. In 2026, the Artemis II crew saw it with 8K clarity, streaming the data back to a planet of 8 billion people, reminding us once again how lonely and how precious our home really is. But the beauty was shadowed by a terrifying reality, the physics of the return. To get home, Artemis II used a free return trajectory. They didn't drive back, they were flung. Gravity is a precise math problem. If the Orion capsule was traveling even 0.1% too fast, they would have missed the Earth's atmospheric entry corridor and skipped off the atmosphere like a stone across a pond, lost to the void forever. They had to hit a target just a few miles wide while traveling at 25,000 miles per hour. As they looked out at the moon for the last time, they knew their lives depended on the heat shield, a layer of avcoat designed to burn away at 5,000 degrees Fahrenheit as they slammed back into the air of Earth. What did the Artemis II crew actually see? They saw the raw, unedited history of our solar system. They saw the shield that has protected Earth from asteroid impacts for eons. They saw the water ice that will fuel our journey to Mars. But more than that, they saw that the dark side isn't a place of evil or mystery. It's a place of opportunity. It's the best place in the solar system to build a radio telescope to listen to the first stars of the Big Bang, free from the noise of humanity. Artemis II was the handshake. Artemis III will be the hug, the moment we finally put boots back on the ground. But for those 4 humans who rounded the far side in 2026, the moon will never be just a light in the sky again. It is a world, it is a frontier, and it is waiting. If you could spend 30 minutes in total radio silence behind the moon, what's the first thing you'd think about? Let me know in the comments below. If you're curious about the cosmos, you belong here. Thanks for watching, and keep looking up. Please consider liking and subscribing.